Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly show of Classroom Without Walls. My name is AI. I'm the host of this weekly live streaming show. You can also listen to our show on the traditional audio-only podcast. Just search Classroom Without Walls. On this show, I interview leading digital marketers, social media marketers, business leaders, copywriters, entrepreneurs to come here to share with us their best practices and strategies so that we can future-proof our business. Today, I have my good friend Tristan Griffiths on the show to talk about something that almost every single person who is a content creator, who is an entrepreneur struggles with, but we all need this, which is content creation. And we are going to do a big challenge here, which is how to create 200 plus pieces of content in 30 minutes, which sounds almost impossible, but we're going to show you how to change something impossible to possible. And for those of you who don't know who is Tristan, and he is the founder of It's Nomad 9, number 9, and he's also a speaker, an author, a digital media expert, and he's also a productivity evangelist, which is really cool. We're definitely going to get a few productivity tips from you. And really excited for today's conversation. And you are going to walk away from today's interview with a much better understanding of content creation and what you are missing in your own content creation, why it is so hard for you to create content, whereas other people can actually generate 200 plus pieces of content in 30 minutes. And we're also going to learn Tristan, his process and how he has figured out this and how he has streamlined this so that we can learn this model from him. And as always, we are live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Periscope, on Twitch. If you are live with us, and let me know in the comment section where you guys are joining us live from, social media wise and geographically speaking. I see that we already have dozens of people here. Thank you so much, everyone, and welcome to the show. And before I invite our guest of honor on the stage, and the show is sponsored by Streamyard. Over the last 3+ years, I have tried so many third-party tools to go live on social media. Streamyard is my all-time favorite. So a big shout out to Streamyard and a big thank you to them for sponsoring Classroom Without Walls. And I have a discount code if you are interested in checking them out. So without any further ado, my friend, welcome to the show.
It's fantastic to be here, and I love what you're doing. To give a bit of context, because it's called Classroom Without Walls, I'm actually from a family of teachers, and I swore blind that I would never teach, but ultimately everybody becomes a teacher in some capacity, whether it's your children, your partner in a job. You always end up becoming some sort of teacher somewhere along the lines. And it turned out for me, it's brilliant to be on this show, because for me, it was never the teaching element, like that side of it. It was the classroom. So for me, Classroom Without Walls is the right place for me to be teaching, because I do live streaming, I do social media content. And so that digital space is a great place for me to be showing up, to be helping people. And hopefully by the end of this, people are going to walk away with the ability, not just the knowledge, but the ability to go and put all of this into practice. Information is abundant, but it's the implementation of it that's going to make the difference in their business. So if they follow the steps that I show, I've got a full strategy that will help them to create more content in less time. You've already had a little sneak peek of what we're going to share today. So there's a whole strategy that sits behind how and why we do it, but we really need to dig down. A lot of people say what you should do, and very few people break down why and how, and the why and how is what makes the really big difference for people. So I'm super excited to be here.
Totally. And you are a content creation machine, my friend. I feel like you are creating content all the time. I really can't wait to learn some of those best practices from you. And before we dive into the specifics of content creation, I want everyone to get to know you more, because you have quite a career, my friend. You started, your entrepreneurial journey when you were as young as 12 years old, and then you are a professional chef, and now you are a digital nomad. You have a digital agency. What a life. So can you share your stories and reinvention with us how you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so it's going to have to be a whistle-stop tour so that we can make sure everyone gets the strategy. But I'll give you that whistle-stop tour really, really quickly. So at the young age of 12, I took my what seemed like a lot of money, of £5 of pocket money, and I decided to invest that into running a tuck shop in my school. So the very entrepreneurial, took my money, turned it into a lot more money. As a 12-year-old, in one term at school, I managed to make £100 off one customer from a £5 start point. So really good return on investment. And back then, everything was based around kind of gut feeling, knowing, you just feel what was right when you're 12. You don't have the business acumen, you don't have that. You just do what feels right. And that's still prevalent in our business today. So I've gone through that, entrepreneurial. I've done various bits and pieces. You've obviously alluded to, I got to my kind of A levels, very, very academic subjects, maths, physics, economics, got halfway through and kind of went, yeah, this isn't for me. So I left and I went to study at the second best place in the country for catering to qualify as a chef, which set me up for some amazing opportunities. I've catered everything from schools catering to working for Sir Terence Conran. I've done work for Sodexo Prestige, big outdoor catering company across all of Europe. So I've worked at the Open Golf in Scotland. I've worked inside Silverstone. I've been inside the Windsor Castle doing the Queen's. So at Christmas, the Queen lets all her staff off and brings in lots of other staff. And I've worked that, served the Queen gin and tonic. There's quite a lot of interesting stories along the way. But that also kind of naturally got to an end when I realized I was working a lot of hours. So I was working a lot, I was underappreciated, underpaid, and I decided that wasn't for me anymore. So I decided to step away from that and work for myself, and obviously wanted to skill up into digital marketing, digital media. So I went back to university as a mature student, but all that means is you're like 20 something. And through that period, because I was going in knowing what I wanted to do rather than university as a natural next step, I basically leveraged all of that. I went straight to the equipment store and asked questions, and they kind of looked at me and said, "Are you a first year?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, if you're a first year, we don't normally see you for about 3 months. So I said to them, what I'm hearing, you said something, but I heard I have access to all this equipment on my own for 3 months. So access to £200,000 of equipment, went out and did videos and photos. And in my first 9 months whilst I was at uni, I'd been taking photos before in the nightlife, but we basically built a whole new brand from the ground up, and we built an audience of 3 million people online with no budget. So I can't take the credit. I say we, because it was the team around me. So building a team of 40, 18 to 24-year-olds, and most people would tell you that's the most horrific age range to work with. The reality of it is, it only is that way if you don't invest in them, if you don't care, if you don't want to work with them where they are. We had 100% team retention for 2 years, and they're the ones that got us to 3 million. I can't take the credit. I was a leader that enabled people to do it. So the education and allowing people to step up into that. And hopefully everyone who's watching today is going to step up into their content creation game and going to start seeing a lot more content. And as you use these strategies that we're going to share today, make sure that you tag us both. We want to see the content. Make sure that you share, use Classroom Without Walls. You learnt it here, so talk about where you learnt it. Pay homage to the people who have helped you to get to that point. We do that with the stuff that we learn. You'll hear me, it will sound like name dropping the people that we've worked with, but it's important to acknowledge those people who have helped you to get where you are, same as the teachers that helped inspire you and things when you were going through traditional education. I obviously decided that wasn't my route. I went very vocational. Then I went back to traditional education. But if you saw my journey at university, my second year at university is something else. After building an audience of 3 million people in my first year at uni and building a team, my lecturer asked me if we would take people on placement. So I'm at uni, just finished my first year, and I've been asked if I'll take people on placement, to which the answer was, I can't really, because I work from home. Like, I work from my bedroom, don't have an office. And so we negotiated. He kind of said, if we give you an office, like, would you do it? So then I'm go back to being 12, being an entrepreneur, gut feeling. I went, how many computers are you going to give me? And so we agreed on 13. And with them saying that, I said, okay, I'll take 13 people with one condition. So we were building a nightlife brand and photography and media agency. I said, one person has to have no interest in going out, one of those 13 people. And he just looked at me as if maybe I'd gone out a few too many times, giving him that sort of answer. And he asked me why. And the answer was, you need someone to keep you in balance. You need someone to question everything you do so that you can do a better job. And that person really did do that. Pieces of paper on the wall, we drew everything out, and their job was to sit there and question everything, literally question everything. And that is why we built to such a huge number really, really quickly. That team, it started with 13 people in an office and obviously exploded up from there. We've worked with some amazing people. We've had some amazing opportunities. So we've worked with some of the big attractions here. So big theme park operators, big music labels, literally some of the biggest music artists in the world. So like we've been to house parties with people like Ed Sheeran. So when people talk to me and you just kind of drop in conversation, serve the Queen gin and tonic, house partied with Ed Sheeran, it sounds like you're name dropping, but it's important because they're all things that shape your journey. And that's exactly it. It's a journey. Be open to all of the possibilities. And I guess the big message from my journey is don't get stuck in one place. If it doesn't feel right, if you're not enjoying it, if there's an opportunity to go do something else, be open to doing that. And obviously skill up, to make an educated decision to do it. Don't just quit. I'm not going to say go quit your job and start the business. I'm going to say work those extra hours to build the business till you can leave. Like keep the solid income. In fact, this week I've been mentoring a group of people, and one of them has had an opportunity whilst they run a business to work with someone else. And I said, absolutely, if you can take that, that's your solid income. And I would take all the money from that job and put it all into my business. Because now all of your business is safe because the money is feeding your business and growing it quicker. Outsource some of the business stuff, do that, and you're growing both. So you've got this brilliant combination. So I really want to inspire some people today, and it's quite a big journey, but it's an exciting one, and it's great to be able to share. I can see some of the comments coming in as well, which is amazing.
So we have 20 plus people with us live right now. Everyone is really inspired by your journey, including myself. I already know your story now on a much deeper level. Totally, right? Reminds me of my story of quitting, resigning from my job and to do what I do today. So yeah, you just mentioned everything perfectly. So I'm sure, working with all those amazing brands, doing content creation has really built a solid foundation for you to do what you are doing today. So that's also what we're talking about today. And before I ask you, Tristan, I want to ask everyone in the live audience, what is your biggest struggle as a content creator? And most people joining us live are small business owners, entrepreneurs, and we all need content, right? It's our bread and butter. So what is your biggest struggle as a content creator? So Tristan, let's talk about the meat of the conversation today. And I really love how I think in one of your videos, you kind of separate this content creation into two big categories. One is content creation, the other one is content management. I just love it. It is so clear, so easy to understand. So I want to first discuss content creation. So share us what's the magic to actually create 200 plus pieces of content in 30 minutes.
Okay,
it's like something pretty crazy. Yeah.
So I'm going to give context to this. Is a lot of people think that doing content creation is difficult, and the main reason is the mindset with which they approach it. They're looking to create the perfect piece of content. They're looking for it to go viral. They're looking to, they quite often overthink things. They look in a space where until it's right, I'm not going to publish it, or until I've got that exact idea fully formed, I'm not going to put it online. The reality is, go back to the time second year at uni with 13 people in a room. Those people helped me to form and shape the idea. It wasn't all my idea. I came with the concept, put it out there, and then they shaped it and they made it as good as it was, which is obviously why it exploded as well as it did. And that's what you need to do when you come to content creation. You have to focus on getting content put out. Like good quality consistently will perform better than waiting a long time to get that perfect piece of content, because ultimately it's a noisy space. Like content creation, the digital marketing space is noisy, it's busy, there's so much content going out that you have to be visible. And in order to be visible, you can't put one post out a month and expect people to, even if it's the best piece of content in the world, someone might not see it, which means that you missed the boat, because they're not going to see it, they're not going to talk to you, they're not going to have that conversation and work with you. If you put more content out, there's more opportunities, there's more touch points, there's more chance of people discovering you. So if you want to be a thought leader, if you want to do that, it has to be valuable. At no point, just understand this, we're talking about putting 200 pieces of content out. We're not talking about just content for the sake of content. It's absolutely right there, talking about value over speed. Yeah, everything that you put out has to be valuable. It absolutely has to add value. Otherwise, you're just adding to the noise on social media. Super important that the content you create, which is why we've created this system that helps to build that much content, it's written backwards. So it's written so that you can get to good, valuable, small pieces of content, reverse engineered. So you know you've got all this content to create. How do you do it in less time? And there's a number of different things that you can do to do this. And I'm going to share the whole system. I'm not holding anything back on this today. So people can literally take this. And there are people who would say, why are you sharing this whole thing? Why, like this is, we get paid to do this for organizations. This is what we do. It's how I do my content. And to context just how well this works, I came back into the office and got a few funny looks when I told the team that we're going to delete the website and start again. Because obviously you take time building it and things. And I said, no, we're going to start again and we're going to build the whole site using our own system, right? Because some of it had been, some hadn't. And I was like, it has to be what we do. We have to live and breathe it, because we do with everything else. And, people worry we're not going to have a lot of content and quickly like that. What we're going to do is I'm going to do the content, and then we're going to turn it around, put it out as blogs, put it out as social content. And that's what we've done. And in the space of about 3 hours, we created 50 blogs in 3 hours. And we're talking like 800 to 1,000 word blogs in that amount of time. So for most people, that's quite overwhelming. Doing content for 3 hours, unless it's what you do, it's a lot. Half an hour, the reason I'm going to go to half an hour is even if you're working another job, that's your lunch break 1 day a week, right? That means if you're working a full-time job and you've got like a side business, a side hustle, whatever you want to refer to it as, and you want to build it, spend 30 minutes, give up one lunch break and do the content for your side business. So it works for anyone who tells me they can't find 30 minutes, they need to have a different conversation. It's not about content, it's about the structure. So everyone should be able to find 30 minutes.
Which we're also going to discuss later. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So obviously with that 30-minute concept, it's a lunch break for someone who's in a job, and someone who runs their own business. You get to choose where that 30 minutes goes. And if you see it work, you don't have to stop at 30 minutes. You could double it up, triple it up. If you've got a team, each person can do 30 minutes. So it's one lunch break for everybody. Obviously, it's not lunch break. It becomes part of the job if that's what you're doing. So the reason I've gone to that is for 30 minutes so that it's manageable for everybody. When I tell you that we're going to break it from 30 minutes to 3 minutes, 10 times over, it becomes even easier. Most people would be petrified if I told them they had to go do 30 minutes of content creation if they've never done it before. So when we break that down into 10 times 3 minutes, it's now 3 minutes at a time. I'm asking for 3 minutes of your time to create some content. And anyone who's up for the challenge, I want during this, I like to push people whenever I talk. Anybody who's up for the challenge, in fact, in the comments, if you're up for a challenge during this session, just type the word challenge in the comments. It will show on our screen. We'll see it. Because I want to set you guys a challenge to actually go and create some content today. Because so many people wait and they want to go and put it out and they want it to be perfect. I want people today to go and put some content out and then in a week look at how it performs, look in a month and see how it's performing, and we're going to show you. I can see some challenges already coming in on the comments over there.
Oh, I actually, sorry to interrupt you, but I really love this idea. I need to share my excitement. I think everyone should take up on this challenge, and let's work with Tristan and actually create some content right now. And maybe you can even review a few copies from the live audience, and you can give them some ideas. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to set what that challenge is shortly and go through it. I'm going to break down my system, and then I'm going to also, so as I get to part of it, I'm going to stop and do the challenge. And as we go to talking about that challenge, there's enough time while you're watching the content to do the challenge. And I know that because I've done it during other people's sessions, right? So I'm going to show you some of this. I see a few familiar faces popping up in the feed there who they've already got an inkling where this is going to go. But for those who haven't seen this before, this is going to change how you do content moving forwards. Everyone has knowledge and expertise, right?
Yeah, before you go there, I will share some of the struggles. Feel free and share with us what struggles that you have as a content creator, small business owner, right? Since you said that time, right? That is my struggle, everybody's struggle, right? You don't have enough time. But do you have 30 minutes, my friend?
I want to share about time, right? Let me just quickly share something there. Great points, Cynthia, and this is common. If it's a solo entrepreneur or small business, time is the biggest challenge, but change the mindset to it being a challenge that you can overcome rather than being a problem, because a problem you don't see how to get past. A challenge you rise to and overcome naturally. It's human instinct. So when you see it as a challenge, everybody has the same amount of time. Myself, Gary Vaynerchuk, all of the people on the stream only have 24 hours in a day. It's not that anyone has any more time. It's about productivity and efficiency with how they use their time. It's about structure and system. And I'm going to share the whole system of what we do with you. And if you want to get a high resolution copy of the diagram, I can drop a link and you can go and grab it from our website. Feel free to take screenshots, anything like that. By the way, if you do, whatever device you're on right now, even before the challenge, take a screenshot, right? Take a photo of the computer you're watching on, post it online and use Classroom Without Walls. Watching Classroom Without Walls and put it out online. You already created a piece of content. You don't have to think about that. You're here to learn, put it into practice. The time that you're watching this, you're going to create content while you're here. Take a picture, write a note. If you're writing notes, take a photo of the notes, right? They're all pieces of content. People are just overthinking what content is. It's literally someone sitting here, Gary Vee, talking about document over create. Absolutely. Everything you do is content. Every single thing that you do in your business. The reason people don't see that as content is because it's what they do day to day. And they think, oh, well, that's boring. Who would want to see me do that? Blah, blah, blah. We talked just before we came on live. Whilst I'm live here on Streamyard on a split screen, which is being recorded and broadcast, I've also got a full screen recording going on. I've got a behind the computer recording going on and a time lapse going on all at the same time. And no doubt at some point I'll take an Instagram, add to my story, things like that. So it's the time element is the structure of your time is what will change it, which is why the 30 minutes thing works, because it's a lunch break. So when I set you a 30-minute option, a 3-minute option, you can find it. It's the mindset of how you approach it.
I love this. I love this. I also want to show this struggle from Desiree. You know, I think time is the number one struggle, and thank you for decoding that, demystifying that. The second one is really good content. You also mentioned this earlier, not just like crappy content. I think everyone can create crappy content in 30 minutes, but we're here talking about actually quality, good content and consistently, for sure. So shall we share this, the surprise?
So I want to give a little bit of context before we bring the big diagram up, and when we do, we'll have to take the banners and stuff down to make sure we get the full screen, because I know it's a full screen thing. What I'm going to show you, I said everybody's got knowledge, right? But just before we came on, I was talking about being from a family of teachers and swearing that I would never teach. And then I realized that Classroom Without Walls is the perfect environment for me to share this, because everybody becomes a teacher. Everybody has knowledge. Everybody helps someone, whether it's in your workplace, when you have children, maybe you have a partner and you teach them to cook or how to do something that they didn't know how to do. We all become teachers at some point in some way. That knowledge and getting it out in content It's how efficiently and productively you can do it. You want to do something once and get multiple results for it. That's exactly what we're doing with the system, is showing you how 30 minutes becomes a lot more content. And to give context, we're going to create the main piece in 30 minutes and then pull from that and create a lot more content. If you can't manage all of it in 30 minutes, do some of it. Don't say, I can't do it in 30 minutes, so I'm not going to start. Start with, there's a piece here that could be 200 pieces. If I do it and I get 50, it's 50 more than I had before. So don't allow that to stop. So we're going to talk about the formats that it comes in, how you break it down, and the reason that video, which is great because we're delivering via video, video is the #1 content creation source for everything. And this diagram is going to show you why. So if we can take the banner off and bring up the diagram, I'm going to talk through it super rapidly. And actually, to give context to everybody else, let's keep just the screen share full screen. I don't need to be on screen for this bit. So this is a diagram that we use to run through doing 200 pieces of content. Now, to give context, look across the top, and all the headings have different colors in them. And that's super important because I break this down into different elements. So this is unashamedly called the content creation machine. It's what we use to create content at scale for ourselves and for customers. So 200 pieces of content, I'm going to break it down and give you the numbers as we go through this. So as we go through this system, if you look right at the top, video topic generation handles that problem of not being able to come up with consistently good content. So the content ideas that someone brought up earlier, this will handle that objection. When we work with people, we do that research and then they start the process at video. If you're doing it for yourself and you want to go down the route of doing video topic generation, there's an amazing tool online called answerthepublic.com. It's a website, it's a search engine. And what it does is it cohesively shows you current search results and search volumes. So for me, I would go and search for social media, take that social media phrase, put it into answerthepublic.com, and that would give me a whole range of things that people are actually searching for right now. So I'm not guessing, I'm answering the questions that people are asking. So then I'm going to create content around that. I'm going to pick 10 subjects. So this is where the 30 minutes goes into 3 minutes. So the topic of, now we've broken it down into 3-minute chunks times 10, spend 3 minutes recording a video that answers that exact question. Make it focused on that question and answer that question to the best of your ability in a video. And then from that video, because video is, unfortunately now, we're in busier environments, we're working from home, there's more people around. Even more so now, people have the sound off, so you have to subtitle. So just below video, you see subtitling, so all your videos can be watched, whether the sound is on or off, and still be learnt from. So we're going to show exactly how that's done. You get a basic form of that from Facebook, from YouTube. When you just upload it, it's already in there. So you can see, start with a content idea from search, so people are already looking for it, you know there's an audience for it. Create a 3-minute video, then subtitle it. If you don't get right down to subtitling professionally, put it on Facebook, put it on YouTube. It's going to do that first subtitling for you. It's going to be there with some form on there. We're not straight away, half an hour after you put it on, it will be visible. That subtitling, that text that appears on the screen, can be repurposed straight over into a blog. So if you look to the left-hand side of the diagram, you have transcription and blogs. So the transcription of that video becomes a full written blog. Based on most average users, if you stop to type, most people are going to type at maybe 45 words a minute. When they speak at 100 to 120 words a minute. I'm really blessed that I do about 200, so I get more words in than everybody else. But 120 words a minute is nearly 3 times as many words as you would type in the same amount of time. And you've got a video and a written piece of content. So even if you had to type out from the video back into the other piece of content, you've still got 2 pieces of content ready to go. That blog can be posted. So this is, we talked about the content creation and the distribution. So we refer to this system as being like the Amazon of content distribution. Taking one piece of content, going straight through. If you want to cut out having to type it, and someone's beaten me to it in the side over here, is that you can actually use multiple devices so that while you record the video, you could have something listening to the audio and putting it into words. So whether that's dictating it through Siri or, you know, any voice recognition software, if you do them at the same time, you can do it really, really quickly. So you can do the multiple things. So you get the transcription, you tidy it up and make it cohesive as a blog with headings and things like that. The distribution is the important part here. And this diagram is still relevant, but Facebook was the top one because they used to have Facebook Notes. Now they've changed it slightly, but because you can write long form content on Facebook anyway, you can still use Facebook. There's still a way to publish there. You can add an image or you can just write a big text post that's adding value. What you need to remember is that every single site that you publish to is going to be indexed by Google, which means that when people search for the question that you're answering at the top, those pages that you put the content on can be delivered as a result. So it's going to make you more visible. It's going to make it more discoverable. So once you've got the blog, we're going to go. So we're looking at one piece of content here, 1 3-minute video, subtitled, transcribed into a blog. That blog is then posted as a Facebook note, a LinkedIn article. You can put it on your own website. You can put it on Medium. You can put it on Google My Business as a break back down. And if you're on industry websites or have permission, maybe you're a chamber of commerce or you're an industry website, another one. So let's call this 6 different locations for your blog. Now, yes, this is the same content. From an SEO point of view, this has changed. It used to penalize you if you duplicated content. Now the thing you need to know is it has to go to your website first and then get published everywhere else, because Google prioritizes the first place it's posted. So we've done one video into a blog that goes in 6 places. From every piece of content that you do that's 3 minutes of video, it's going to come out as 300 to 400 words as a blog post. So it's a decent sized blog post. If you go a little bit longer, you know, it multiplies up, but let's keep it 3 minutes. 300 to 400 words. Think about, as you listen to this talk, you probably write down 1 or 2 phrases that you think that's a really good one. Same thing happens with your own content. In every 3 minutes, you'll probably pull 5 good quotes from it that would make a good tweet or would make a good graphic that you could put out on social media. When you pull those out, those are now status updates for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So you've now gone from 1 blog piece on 6 platforms to 5 quotes from that go across 3 platforms. So now you're another 15 pieces of content. So you've gone from 1 video, 6 blogs, 15 social media updates once you get them across all the different platforms. I'm going to stop at this point for 2 seconds just to set that challenge. So can you just bring me back up onto screen just for 2 seconds? Because I know there were people who wanted this challenge. I'm going to talk you through the process to do over 200.
By the way, before we talk about the challenge, everyone is in love. This is amazing and insane. Everyone loves this. So thank you. I just want to let you know. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. So I'm going to set you the challenge because I truly believe that anyone in this audience can do exactly what I'm going to show you and set you as a challenge by the time we finish the session. So we're already halfway through, and I want you to know that in the next half an hour, you could get this done while you're watching the show. So this is something you can do. I want you to think about a topic that you know a lot about, and I want you literally, it's not complicated. Don't overthink it. This beautiful little device, your mobile phone, right? I can guarantee that if you're watching on it, this might be a bit more tricky. You might have to do it afterwards. If you're watching on a computer, grab your mobile phone. It will be within reach somewhere on the desk. Grab this, nothing complicated. Open the camera app, and you are going to record a 1 to 2 minute video answering one thing that you know a lot about. And you're going to post it online saying, I'm doing this as the challenge from #ClassroomWithoutWalls. We're going to look in 24 hours at the hashtag and go through your content. I'm going to give you feedback, and anyone who takes up the challenge, I'm going to pick someone and turn it into a blog for them. So someone who does it will get a blog written by the agency. In fact, I will personally write the blog for you. So I will take that content and turn it into the other pieces of content to prove to you that this works. I don't want you to think it works. I want you to see that it works, and we'll announce it across the hashtag as well. So that's the challenge, 1 to 2 minutes. So inevitably at some point whilst we're talking, grab your phone, listen still, doesn't matter if there's a bit of background noise, get your video out, 1 to 2 minutes, get it out. And the most important part is don't record it and think about it, put it out. Once you finish recording it, don't think, oh, I could have said this, put it out. It'll get better the more you do. The practice makes you better. So that's the challenge, 1 to 2 minute video, get it done, get it posted. Maybe it's something you heard here that you can share with your audience. I've just been watching this on Classroom Without Walls. This is an amazing thing I learned. Share that. Let's jump back to the diagram and I'll go back through the rest.
Wow, my friend, this is such a great opportunity. Thank you so much. Everyone, you guys heard the brands that Tristan and her company are working with. If I were you, I would be jumping in, kisses in, and I'm so excited. Yeah, I can't wait to check them out. So yeah, let's go back to a screen share. I'm going to remove the banner.
So at this point, we're talking about 1 3-minute video that we've done. We've transcribed it. It's now 1 blog across 6 platforms. So we're at 6 blog pieces of content, long form content. We've then gone to 5 status updates or quotes, as you'll see on the screen here. And that quotes part becomes 15 because you post it across 3 platforms. So here collectively, 21 pieces of content at this point. From 1 video of 3 minutes, you're at 21 pieces of content. Every single status update that you post, because they're going to be short form designed for Twitter and they're status updates, you're going to actually turn them into graphics. You can use a range of different tools. Let's throw a couple out there. Adobe Spark, relay that. Adobe Spark, relay that, Canva. So any of these types of programs, there's free, there's paid, but it doesn't matter how you do this. In fact, if you don't want to use a program at all, there's a really simple thing you can do. Open the Notes application on your phone, type it in or copy and paste it, take a screenshot, crop it, post it on social media. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't use the tool as an excuse to not get it done. Those 5 quotes that you get from the blog are now going to be turned into graphics, which obviously can go onto your Instagram feed. For example, here, you're going to go Facebook, graphic, LinkedIn, graphic, Twitter, graphic, Instagram, Pinterest. So again, we're now to 5 other places times 5. So we're 25 here. We're at 45 pieces of content from 3 minutes of video. It's really not complicated when you realize there's no snag in this process. It's literally doing it straight one after the other. It's a quick process. And as you want, the more you do it, it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So we've looked at square graphics. Obviously, you might want to do some that are tall for stories. Now, this is a whole brand new thing. When I built this system 10, 12 years ago, and I've been using it for that long, obviously the platforms change, but the content creation doesn't. It's still your knowledge, it's still graphics, it's still text, it's still video. Where it goes changes. So when you create that natively portrait style graphic or short videos, you can do both. You can post those again. We're adding another 5 locations here. And we've only got through 3 of the 7 headings at this point. So we're adding 5 times 5 again, another 25. So we were at 46 before. So we were 71 pieces of content here. So actually, the reason I say 200, and at this point, if you do the maths and add a 0 to the end, we're already at 710 pieces of content here. The reason I say 200 is no one would believe that you could create that amount of content with so little time. If you want the context of 200 videos, blogs, and quotes, if you spend 3 minutes 10 times over and follow that exact strategy and post to all of those locations, will give you 230 pieces of content in 30 minutes of video. So the 30 minutes is the video creation. Then obviously the other part of the process will get faster and faster the more you do it. So YouTube, Facebook is doing a hard piece of the lift for you, or your voice recognition software doing some of the writing for you, which I've demonstrated this as a content creation method. Use your devices to their fullest. So we've done the video, we've done the blogs, we've done the quotes, we've done the graphics and the stories. We talked about the subtitling already. We haven't even used the video at 71 pieces of content. So that original video can go on YouTube, can go on Facebook, can go on LinkedIn. So now you're adding another 3 pieces in the mix. You're at 74 pieces of content online from one 3-minute video. If you want to go to Gary V style, or epic as we call it, those videos with the timer bars and the header and the bit below, there's a lot of softwares out there that you can do it. You can learn the skill quickly from someone on YouTube. You can outsource it to someone. But those ones that make you stop in the feed because they've got a little bit more to them, that allows you to post in a different format that becomes a scroll stopper. Now, yes, it's the same piece of content that you've posted as the original video, but if you don't have to post them at the same time, we're talking about like the Amazon of content creation delivery, the infrastructure to get your content online. And how do you manage that? I'll touch on in a minute. But this is a different format of the same type of video that they might not stop for a plain video, but they might stop for this one because the timer bar gives them an indication of how long the content will be. It might be one piece of it. It might be the whole piece. That's down to you to decide, but that adds in another 3 places. You want to go down the other side. Let's go back up to the video at the top, and the right-hand side, you can strip the audio out of any video. People record, a lot of podcasts are recorded through things like Zoom, or that they've recorded a video with a Facebook Live and then they extract the audio and they turn it into a podcast, right? If you look at how many, I can't even give you the number. For the podcast platforms, I've listed a few here. It would appear on your website, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud. There's hundreds more. Podbean, there's loads of podcast platforms. So this number becomes even bigger. And all you did was extract the audio, add a beginning and end. If you don't want to go all frills, why not use something like Anchor FM, anchor.fm as a website? It allows you to upload that content and publish it so that people can subscribe. The beauty of the podcast platform is that people subscribe to it. So the next time you publish, if they heard the first piece and liked it, the next time they do it, the next time you release a piece of content, they're notified of it. Unlike a lot of the other platforms where you have to get their attention again, podcasts, they've chosen to subscribe. The same thing of that, once you've got the audio out, you can turn it into like an animation. So either animated text on screen or waveforms on screen. Again, it's a different piece of content driven from the same original video, but that allows you to put it into those other formats again. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram will support those because they're visual pieces of content. So when you look across all of this, the 200 is only the red headings. So if you wanted to do 200 pieces with 30 minutes of video, all you have to do is the video, the subtitles, the transcription into blog and quotes. That's it. And you will hit 200 pieces of content. And that's 200 because you're getting 230 pieces of content, 23 pieces of content per video. Times that by 10, 230 pieces of content. Super, super easy. 30 minutes of video, that's your content done. And like I say, if you go across the whole lot, you're closer to 1,000 pieces of content. It really is as easy as that.
This is incredible, my friend. And some of you just joined. I want to make sure that you understand that we're actually doing a challenge right now. So if you do a quick video under 3 minutes, and make sure you can tag us, use hashtag Classroom Without Walls, and Tristan is going to do the hashtag search later and going to use his team to turn your video into a blog article. Like, how amazing can that be? That's like incredible.
So it is. I want to be clear. It's not, I'm on a camera, I've got lighting, I've got all of this stuff going on. It is literally your mobile phone. Pick up your mobile phone. Don't overthink it. Whether it's something you learned today, if you want to do that, or something you know a lot about, literally grab your phone, record a video, post it out online. It's as simple as that.
Totally. I love how Lance mentioned who is one of our regular watchers. And he said like he does everything on his mobile phone nowadays, which is, pretty much every single person. And I love, and you also mentioned, so let me do a quick screen share because you mentioned quite a few tools that are really powerful that I personally also enjoy using. I want to make sure everyone, hold on, because I just got a new computer. I need to give Streamyard the permission to share my screen. But anyway, so I really love Answer the Public, which is really amazing. And also, I don't know if you use Otter, OTTER.ai. So I use that to get the script for my audio, which is really powerful, also free. And I love Anchor. So once you get the audio and upload to Anchor, like this show is being distributed to 8 different places. I mean, like, I love it. Yeah.
It's so powerful. I mean, we could talk for the whole hour about the tools that are available to you. There's some out there for those people who are going to try and do this for themselves. There's things like Headliner app is quite good. It's not perfect, but none of the automated platforms are perfect. You have to appreciate if you're automating it, it's not going to be perfect. Like for us internally, when we run this process, to be clear, we don't use any automated transcription for this. We do it manually through our team. So we've got the system now. When we talk to people say, oh, how much does that system cost? It's a really specific amount of money, like it ends in 8p, right? But it's because we've worked out what does it cost us? What's the time element to every part of this for us to do it, to deliver this much content? And then we've obviously added the margin for profit for the business to trade. And to be clear, we even give 10% of all of our proceeds to good causes around the world. So even within the budget of what we do, every product that we sell helps good causes around the world. And we do that through Buy One, Give One, which allows us to have a big global impact, even though, we're an agency, we work UK, America, Australia, Canada. And the only kind of caveat to who we can work with is that they must speak English, because our team obviously are translating from the video content back. So it's something we're looking at for other languages, but at the moment it's just English speaking for the translation and turning back into all the content. So it's an amazing way to turn content around quickly. And there's actually someone who's used the service on the comments as well. I can see down there. Good to see you, Guy. Nice to see you on the broadcast.
Thank you. I also love this really good comment from Kelly, and thank you for catching us live. She loved how you are, because we're all different types of learners, right? Someone prefer audio, someone prefer to do this, more interactive, someone just like, I don't want to hear anything. I only prefer to read. So what you are doing to really meet people from all types of learners, I think it's really, really powerful. Yeah, really such an eye-opening experience when you think about it. Only originally 3 minutes of content. It's not really that hard at all, and on a topic that we're passionate about. Yeah, so really, really good.
It's breaking things down, because content creation. I think knowledge curation is a better phrase. Because when you say to people content creation, they hit a block straight away thinking, what do I create? The reality is when it's knowledge curation, what you're doing is taking your knowledge and putting it in a format in multiple learning styles that other people can get access to. So it makes more sense to say knowledge curation. So it's curating your knowledge into a format that's understandable in different learning styles. There's no barrier there. I know that Classrooms Without Walls, literally no walls, no barriers kind of concept. It's the same with content creation. And I think it's kind of a phrase I kind of want to get away from, but obviously we're known for content creation. It's things people search for, but I want to craft that conversation to be, let's remove the phrasing like that, because it stops people in their tracks because they don't know what content to create. And a lot of people who run agencies would look and say, you're an agency. It's great that they don't know because they come to you. The reality is I teach and educate as well as completing it for people. So I want to help as many people as possible, whether I run it for them or whether they learn it and do it themselves. I love seeing content that goes out and I think, that person was in that class. I remember that. And now I can see them writing blogs, and you can see the change in their social patterns. So you see them suddenly start blogging, and they might do it for a month and drop off. And then you just go and give them a little nudge and say, hey, I love those blogs. What happened? Why did you stop? And then they kind of jump back on. So it's keeping people inspired, I think, is part of the challenge as well.
Totally. I love everything. Like really, really amazing. And thank you for dropping so much value. I just want to respect everyone's time. We are almost wrapping it up right now. So I want to ask you, this question has been in my mind. So do you recommend like posting? You do so much content across. So by the way, this is Tristan's Instagram. Please definitely connect with him on Instagram. And do you recommend like posting natively Or actually, I heard so many different rumors. Some people say third party is fine. Some people don't ever use a third party tool, only posting natively. So what do you do across so many social media channels and managing so much content?
So it is exactly that. Like, different people will give you different stories. When you speak to some platforms, they'll say it doesn't make any difference. Other platforms will tell you, we'd like you. Realistically, think about it from your own business perspective. Would you rather people used your service or used something else? That's the reality. Is if, let's say, you got 10% of the reach on a post that you've scheduled through a platform, but you could post 100 times more, which one gets you the bigger result? Because it saves you the time and effort in it, which is the same reason that Facebook, for example, created the Creator Studio, is they understood the necessity to make the scheduling process easier. But the reality is things like, we use Agora Pulse. And if anyone hasn't used it, if they're looking for a scheduling tool, please reach out. Like, I actually am an ambassador for Agora Pulse now. And like, if you wanted to use it, test it and try it, I can give 2 months free to anyone who's watching if they want to try the platform. It's a way to curate all of your social platforms at once. But more importantly than that, a lot of people see it as a schedule only platform. It's how do you bring it back and make it social listening? How do we listen to the conversation that's happening? Because ultimately the content we create is to answer questions and add to the conversation and add value, which was brought up really early on. So listening and posting, but also you can analyze it. So you can analyze what's working, what's not, what times work, what type of content, post lots of different sizes and shapes and varieties. Like, if you watch and follow Gary V, he posts upside down, sideways photos, right? It's not by accident, it's by intent, so that they can test, does this stop the feed because it's different to everything else? There's nothing different, it's just a photo sideways, but it's different in its orientation, which stops people. So in answering the question, even if it impacts by not posting natively, using a tool allows you to post more, which overall will get you a bigger impact and a bigger reach.
Yeah, I love what you mentioned, Tristan, about social listening, because like, as a content creator myself, for people who are struggling with content ideas, I just listen. I follow hashtag like education or education crisis, and I will see what people are talking about. Oftentimes, as you mentioned, Tristan, people will actually be asking questions like, yeah, that's a great question. Nobody's answering that question. Why don't I answer that question? Here you have a great content idea. So yeah, love it.
The social listening side, one really good piece of advice. So for us, we do, so you look at what we do and people say, oh, Gary Vee does a similar model to this. Therefore, he has the same audience. He has people who are interested in creating content at scale. So for me, literally going once a day to Gary Vaynerchuk's posts and scanning through, there'll be loads of questions that he hasn't answered. D-Rock, who films for him, lots of questions that he hasn't answered. It's time. Everybody can't answer everything. But therefore, if you're looking for that new business within your industry, there are already people starting conversations and not finishing them. Go join the conversation. You know, I talk about there's money on the table. There is literally money on the table. And this thing here, I reckon probably everyone who's watching, there's probably £100,000, dollars, yen, whatever currency you're in here, right? From people that you already know. Everybody always looks where they don't know and tries to win them. Even if someone isn't a potential customer that is in your phone book, a friend, a school colleague, a university classmate, they might be in contact with someone who is your ideal audience. So you need to think about the introduction and letting them know. Don't be like Chandler from Friends where no one knows what he does. Make sure people know what you do, and it's not ramming it down their throat, but just check in. How are you doing? What are you up to? And naturally, when you say, what have you been up to? What do they ask you? Oh, what are you up to? Oh, well, I've now run a media agency and we do this, this, and this, which means they're ready to go and tell other people and be advocates for you.
Amen. Amen. Just like to follow up, like every point I want to follow up because it is so good. Just recently, Gary Vee, he did an article because I'm really against the traditional educational system. And he was talking about should like young people actually go to college. And I actually went to his LinkedIn. I saw hundreds of comments. And I got so many great ideas in terms of what I need to talk about and even the pain points of my customers, because quite a few of them are actually parents. They're talking about the broken education model. I was like, copy paste, copy paste. It is such a brilliant way. I just love it. Yeah. Thank you, Tristan. Yeah. We have only 5 minutes left, but I can't let you go without asking you to share with us a few tips for productivity. You are such a productive person, and you are also a productivity evangelist. So give us, what are your top 3 tips to stay productive?
So the first one has to be, I talked about the 30 minutes thing. So one of my techniques is called chunking. So it's giving dedicated amounts of time to doing certain tasks. Most people try to fit everything in and it just fits where it fits. Guy will attest to this because we've been talking about it this week, if he's still here, is that when I say about doing lead generation to people, I don't say go and chase 10 people today. I say give 20 minutes of your time to doing that job. And the reason is, if I said 10 people every day, you do 10 today, 10 tomorrow, 10 the day after. And by the 4th day, some are replying. So you then can't do 10 because you've got time there. What you need to do is you need to allocate time. So if you did 10, if in the time you did 10 today, 10 tomorrow, but it's time based, the 3rd or 4th day, you spend the 10 minutes having the conversation. So chunking your time for specific tasks. My calendar literally says content creation, record a live, create a course, write this. So I know, it doesn't say what the exact thing is, but in that time, go create content, go follow up with the people that you mentor, go do, so chunking your time. And the principle of a change is as good as a break. If you break things down into 20-minute chunks, I'm a strong believer that there's no task that can't be done in 20 minutes. And people go, I couldn't build a car in 20 minutes. I'm like, but you could put that nut and bolt on in 20 minutes, and you could attach the tire in 20 minutes. They're all individual tasks, same as content creation being broken right down. So number 1 is chunking. Number 2 is use accessibility tools that you probably didn't know were there. So inside your smartphone, you might have to go to accessibility options. If you're not partially sighted or have a hard of hearing, you might not have ever looked at the accessibility options. I don't read, not because I can't, I just don't, by preference, don't go and read. What I do is I bookmark blogs, content, things like that, and I get my device to read it back to me as if I was blind. So I now listen to it. So bookmark it, and I use an iPhone, so I'll tell you how it's done there. In the accessibility options, it's a text-to-speech function, and literally swiping 2 fingers down from the top of the screen will make it read it back to me. So it's all about, in fact, I'm going to demonstrate the second one as I explain this. Wow. It's all about using the accessibility options to help you be more productive with the tools you already have. And the second one is exactly this. If it's going to come into focus. You just heard me speak exactly these words. All I've done is, you can see on my keyboard, let's go this way. You may or may not see on the keyboard because of the brightness, but there's a dictation button. Speech to text is in your phone already. If you're on an Android, you may have to install an extra app for it. On iPhone, it's already there. But I wrote this piece of content whilst I was talking to you. So the tools you have, you probably already, the tools you need, you probably already have. The reality of this is, we talked about pieces of content and getting fancy and doing the graphics was to stop me from here doing exactly this. Screenshot. Now I have a graphic as well. So in here, I want this as a square graphic, for example. All I have to do is from the screenshot, resize it. So I've done voice to text, taken a screenshot, cropped it. Now my graphic is done. Didn't take very long. I did it whilst I was talking to you. And to prove it, if you guys in a minute go to Twitter, you'll see this post on Twitter in a minute. So it's as easy as that. And I level up, I go to the next level. So doing something like that in a full demonstration, I would also record the screen. So I'd get text, a screenshot graphic, and a video all at the same time. In fact, I get 2 videos out of one, but I'll explain that on another time because I'm conscious on the time. So chunking, using the tools that you've got, and not being afraid to go out and try things. Like, productivity comes from practice. Like, it's not instant. You have to go and try things and don't be afraid to make mistakes. You either succeed or you learn, right?
Amazing. It's like everything else in life is like really like working out, building our muscle, right? Productivity is also a muscle that we need to constantly be practicing and using and building it. I love this, which reminds me, actually, quite a few of my friends, they wrote books by doing like voice dictating. They just like voice, and then the best part is that the book is so conversational, it's so easy to read. I just love it. I was like, there's something special about the book you just wrote. She said, yeah, I dictated. I was like, wow.
It sounds more like the person.
Yeah, conversational. I loved it. Yeah, amazing, my friend.
That voice to text tool, to be clear on it, you can use it on computers. Most people use it on their phone. So it's change of habit. So doing it on your phone, because it's native in the device, it works for everything. You can write a tweet, respond to a Facebook, you can write an article, you can do the whole lot with your voice. It's about learning and practicing, and you might need to make changes, but it's a good piece of content that you can do quickly and easily. And you could do it within the next 20 minutes when you get off the call.
Amazing. Oh my God, we learned so much from content creation, repurposing content, and literally how to create 200 pieces of content in 30 minutes from a 3-minute video and so much more. Thank you so much, my friend, for dropping so much value. So do share with us where people can learn more about you. I have your website here. I have been sharing your social media handles, but repeat all the social media handles again so everyone can follow you, check you out, or check out your surveys and all the good stuff.
So really super easy to connect with me. Some people have a preference, and I'm not going to say where I want to connect because it's about where other people want to connect with me. So if you look me up as I'm Tristan G, or it's Nomad9, the company name, that's our handle on all socials. So whether you want to tweet me, drop me a DM, drop me a messenger message, you can find us across both those handles on all the social platforms. As a company, we're on TikTok. I'm not personally on TikTok, but a company is there if you want to connect there. So we're across all those different socials. So wherever you would rather connect is better for me.
Amazing. I love that. You always make it easier for your audience to connect with you. And I love it. And we're already over time. Everyone just love it. Oh my God, right? So yeah. I love seeing you in action. Screenshot voice to this. Here's a tweet. I love it.
I already shared your face from the broadcast on LinkedIn and tagged you. So
thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. A big thank you to Tristan and me. It's already 11 o'clock in the UK. So thank you so much, my friend. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live, literally from all over the globe. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And please follow up on the challenge. Make sure to use the hashtag and tag us. And I can't wait to see the videos that you guys have created. So excited. And thank you so much again, Tristan. And I hope to see you guys again next Wednesday or Thursday for some of you, the same time, same location. And thank you so much again to Streamyard for sponsoring the show. Bye, everyone.